I used to be terrified of fat. Like most women, I was told to eat lean protein, skip the butter, and stick to salads with light dressing. But here's what actually happened. When I started adding more animal fats to my meals, my waist got smaller, my skin cleared up, my anxiety went down, my cycle finally regulated, and I started waking up leaner, even though I was eating more calories than before. Crazy, right? But it wasn't magic, it was science, and my DNA was the missing piece. Hey y'all, welcome back to Doozy Talks with Susie, where we keep it real about fitness, nutrition, mindset, and how to live in sync with your body and your purpose. And today we are diving deep into a controversial truth that fat might just be your friend, especially if your genes say so. I'm going to show you how I used my DNA to stop fearing fat, start fueling smarter, and finally get results I couldn't achieve with low-fat dieting or overtraining. So let me back up. For years and years, I was stuck in a loop. Eating clean, tracking calories, doing tons of cardio, and still feeling puffy, bloated, anxious, and honestly, just exhausted. The worst part, I was doing everything right, according to the mainstream fitness advice. But I wasn't seeing the definition I wanted. My cycle was off, and I was constantly thinking about food. It wasn't until I ran my DNA test that's when I realized my body doesn't burn carbs efficiently. I carry gene variants that affect insulin sensitivity, mitochondrial energy metabolism, and inflammation, as well as my gut health. That meant I actually do better with more fat and worse with too many carbs, even the healthy ones. So here's what I found out when I got my DNA tested. I have a harder time balancing blood sugar, especially after high carb meals. I have a higher baseline level of inflammation even when I eat the healthy foods. My body detoxes more slowly, which means it doesn't clear out chemicals or oxidized fats very well. And most importantly, my DNA showed I'm more sensitive to carbs and actually do more better with healthy fats like those found in meat, coconut oil, and tallow. Once I understood this, it was like a light bulb went off. I finally understood why oatmeal bloated me, why protein bars didn't keep me full, why I craved sugar even after eating a balanced meal. My body wasn't broken. I just wasn't giving the fuel it runs best on. So here's what a typical fat-fueled day looks like for me. I eat a lot of fat and protein now. So in my morning, I'll get some coffee, a little bit of oat milk, a scoop of collagen peptides, and a little bit of beef tallow or coconut oil in the coffee as well. It's great for a pre-workout. Then for my first meal of the day, I'll make some ground beef or some steak, cook it in some tallow, eat some eggs with it, and I might throw in some berries, a little bit of fruit if I'm feeling super hungry, but most of the time, that's a pretty solid meal for me. Later on, I'll eat some nuts right now, cashews are kind of my go-to. Macadamia nuts tend to settle better, but it's usually macadamia nuts or cashews. Maybe some fruit again. Right now, what's in season are the things like watermelon, cantaloupe. So I try to eat the fruits that are in season at the time. Then for dinner, it's typically some chicken or beef, something really, but not lean. I go for the more fatty pieces of meat if I can find it. Then I'll cook it in either beef tallow or olive oil. Olive oil has the temperature stuff, so I got to be careful with that. And I'll have it with a little bit of maybe some rice, maybe some potatoes, but my body's at a point where I do best if it's half a serving or less. So it's really not a lot of carbohydrates in my diet right now, but my body thrives when I have a lot of protein and more fat in being used as the baseline for my daily intake. Before bed, I'll take some magnesium, some glycine, and sometimes I'll make this, it's really tasty. It's like a hot chocolate drink that I made up myself, where I just throw in a little bit of cocoa, a little bit of milk. Right now I'm on oat milk. I had been doing A2 milk, but now I'm doing oat milk for short term. And then I'll throw a little bit of collagen peptides and a little bit of tallow, beef tallow, into it with a little bit of xylitol or honey, whatever I have on hand at the time. And if I do have that as a drink to help manage my blood sugar levels as I'm sleeping, and cinnamon, because cinnamon's going to help with blood sugar levels. So I throw all of that in. If I have that, then I'll skip the glycine in the evening. And that's kind of my drink that I'll have to help balance if I need a little extra calories before bed. Otherwise, I'll just have some nice relaxing tea. So the biggest change, though, is I don't count my calories. Not like I used to. I'll sometimes add it up just to be like, did I eat enough calories today? Do I need to eat a little more? But that's the extent of counting calories. Used to, I would count it down to the last little bit and it was still putting on weight. And I'm like, I don't know what's wrong. So I don't really have to count my calories that much anymore. I feel full longer. I can go several hours instead of needing to eat every 2 hours. My mood and skin are more stable and clear. My stomach is more flat in the morning, which is kind of cool because used to I would wake up and I'm like, dude, I look like I just ate breakfast and I haven't had anything yet. So here's the top 5 fats that I use, and I'm going to break them down really quick and why they work. So one is beef tallow. Pure, stable, no oxidation, supports the hormone production. It's rich in fat-soluble vitamins. Coconut oil. I don't like to cook with coconut oil, but if I throw it into my coffee, it tastes pretty good. It's got the MCTs, and that's the main reason why I started using it. I had seen some people on YouTube who were talking about the MCTs, and I'm like, well, I need MCTs. They're really good for us. They're the medium chain triglycerides. They give fast energy. The coconut oil also supports metabolism and digestion. Then I'll use fatty meats. I typically if I'm doing, say, for instance, ground beef, I'll go for 80% lean instead of, I used to do 93% lean. And that was I needed the fats. We need fats for brain health and proper hormone function. So the fatty meats have a natural source of the CLA, B12, iron, and it's easier for me to digest than the dairy or plant-based fats. Then I'll also use cashews and macadamia nuts, energy dense, good for travel if I'm in a rush, but I need something quick. That's literally what I have them there for. They also support the metabolic flexibility. So that's perfect. Eggs, specifically egg yolks. I eat eggs on occasion. My body is handling the eggs better. At one point, I couldn't really eat eggs. They would mess up my stomach. But as I've been working on improving my gut health, I'm able to eat eggs more. They are nutrient dense, full of choline. I just have to monitor for the sulfur sensitivity, but they are great. And so here's what I avoid are the vegetable oils, canola, soy, and seed oils, low fat, anything. There's actually a video I saw out recently where Thomas DeLauer was interviewing Paul Saladino, and they were talking about low fat foods and how it's really, no, you shouldn't be doing it. Protein shakes, I don't do anymore. The ones that are made with the cow's milk. I get bloated, my stomach hurts, and I'm like, it's just uncomfortable all around. I don't fear fat anymore, though. I just trust it. It's part of our diet. I think it's there for a reason, and we need it. So I want to answer, though, some quick questions that you might be asking right now. Won't fat make me gain weight? Doesn't that happen? No. It won't make gain weight if your body runs better on fat. I got leaner without having to cut calories because my hormones and metabolism finally felt safe. All that being said, I'm going to do a quick plug for getting your DNA tested because some people may not metabolize fat as well as others. Some people may metabolize carbohydrates better than others. For me, I don't metabolize carbohydrates as well as other people can. So I try to avoid the carbs. I'm fine on healthy fat. Keep that in mind, healthy fat and protein from meat. So if your body runs better on fat, don't worry about it. That means you're going to use it. It's good for you. Now, next question. Isn't saturated fat bad for your heart? Not necessarily. Inflammation and insulin resistance are the bigger issues. My CRP gene makes me more sensitive to inflammation from processed foods, not the clean fats. And that was something I had to dig deep into to make sure how this works with processing foods. But the real issue would be the inflammation, insulin resistance. Those are the big problems to look at, not fat. And having things like margarine, that's not a good fat to be consuming. So things like that, keep that in mind over, is the fat bad? If you're eating healthy fats, it's not going to be a problem. Can you build muscle without carbs? Yes, you can. But I do eat carbs strategically around my workouts or in small amounts. You just don't need as much as the fitness industry claims. All that to say, there are some people with the genes where their body loves to use carbohydrates to help build your muscles, get bigger and stronger. Yes, it's just my body doesn't function that way. And not everybody's body functions that way. So if you're eating carbs and you're carb loading and you're bulking and you're like, dude, I feel more like a water balloon than a strong person, maybe it's the carbs. I would look into that. What if I feel tired on more fat? So I would say transition slowly on this. Support your liver and bile with things like taurine or digestive bitters. It takes time to switch fuel sources. So if your body is used to other forms of fuel, throwing a bunch of fat on could be a bit of a problem. You have to be strategic with it. But keep in mind, fat isn't the enemy. For many women, it's the answer. You tell me you're struggling with hormone balance, I'm going to be asking how much fat is in your diet because you might need more. So if you're curious whether your body's been missing fat, here's where you can start. Switch out processed seed oils for real fats, like real butter, not margarine. Switch it out for real butter, tallow, or coconut oil, or olive oil, and then try reducing your carbs for a few days and upping your healthy fats and protein. Notice how your hunger, energy, bloating, and cravings change. And if you want to dig deeper, I highly recommend getting your DNA tested. I'm telling you, I believe your DNA test is looking at the owner's manual or the owner's guide for a product. You open it up and you're like, oh, this is how my TV works. You're reading all of it. Or you just got your new iPhone in the mail and you open up the owner's manual. Nobody opens the owner's manual, but we're going to pretend like you opened the owner's manual and you see how all of your phone works, all of the cool gadgets and everything, right? You're just reading it. And you're like, dude, this is how it works. When you look at your DNA, you're literally seeing how your body works best. And that has been so life changing for me. I don't think I could ever emphasize enough how important it is to get your DNA tested. And look for results that tell you about things like blood sugar sensitivity, inflammation risk, how well you process carbs and fats, whether your body prefers saturated versus unsaturated fats. Some tests even show how your body handles detox and hormones. When I saw all of these results for myself, I finally understood how to eat in sync with me. Not the internet, not a trend, me. And believe me, I've tried everything: vegan, keto, low calorie, high cardio, but nothing gave me peace in my body until I added the fat back in and focused on exactly what my body needed. Now I feel strong, more calm, and confident that I'm not fighting against my biology anymore. If you've been spinning your wheels, tired, bloated, or constantly craving sweets, don't write it off as a lack of willpower. Your fuel might just be off. Try fat. Trust your DNA. You might be surprised what happens when your body feels safe again. Let me know in the comments what your experience has been with low fat versus higher fat diets. If you want more content like this, especially around DNA-based eating, hormone balance, and smart fitness, hit subscribe and share this with a friend who's still stuck counting calories. And I'll see all of you in the next one.